And we're here. We're live for the early game halftime stream. Liz.
Yes.
What a pretty exciting first half. Some interesting performances out there.
We got a Caden Smith touchdown, which Nate Boyer on Fantasy Football Live predicted. And Matt and I were both sort of like, oh, okay, guy. And then it happened. So
yeah.
Good for him. Also very nice to see one of the predictions we all agreed on, the Baker Mayfield and OBJ connection game. Finally, Matt said perfectly, if it doesn't happen in Week 12 against the Dolphins, it ain't never going to happen. And thankfully, it's happening.
Completely agree. Our chat room already has a few thoughts for us. What's going on with Tyler Lockett? We'll talk about that a little bit later. Stymie from YouTube says, I was told there would be offense today, the Browns notwithstanding. We are going to dig into this Browns performance because it's probably the biggest fantasy storyline right now. And, of course, someone is perplexed by the fact that Mason Rudolph still has a job. Yeah, that guy sucks.
I mean, some people might think he should be suspended this game, but we're not going to have that conversation right now.
Hard to say. Liz, if the Steelers do lose to the previously winless Bengals.
Yes, I'm here for this.
You're here for it.
This is like Happy Thanksgiving. Are you kidding? Like this, wouldn't you love to see the Bengals have one win all season and it be against this frisky Steelers defense?
Oh, yeah, it would be gorgeous. I mean, isn't there some guy like on his roof refusing to come down until the Bengals have a win? Which, like, dude, life is too short to be doing
also
that.
Are you kidding me? That guy's a genius. That guy's like, oh, it's the holidays, can't do anything, can't help out, too busy like up on my roof avoiding life. I love that.
Well, if that's his play and then the Bengals win today, like, talk about
horrible timing.
Yeah, he's sitting up there like, oh, damn
that guy's wife was definitely like, Minka, you're gonna throw this game.
Yeah,
you hear me? I need lights.
Dropping every interception.
All the holiday lights better be strong. This fool's cleaning the china after the meal on Thursday.
Seriously.
That dude's wife gets all the props if the Bengals win today then.
Speaking of that game, too, we had someone in the chat who's just Jalen Samuels, ? With the eyeball emoji, like looking for him. We talked about this a little bit on FFL and I think on the podcast, too. Guy's just not a running back, right? Like, period. Even if he can certainly play the position to be like an outlet receiver, but if you've got guys like Benny Snell,
guys like Benny Snell, what end it there, man?
Well, but there's some other guy in the mix too.
Kerrith White.
Kerrith White. I saw our colleague Eric Edholm tweet about that. He said Bears draft pick something White with a K. I was like, Kevin White's playing for the Steelers? What? Oh no. You know who's playing for the Steelers right now and actually making some plays? Your boy Deion Kane.
Who was released from the Colts, and which was surprising to me because the Colts were really high on this kid, but he wasn't going to be healthy until when? November. Why are you going to drop him in November?
I know. It was odd, especially for a team that has some wide receiver question marks.
Oh, yeah, but Pascal and Rogers, man, FWT.
Exactly.
FTW, FTW for the win.
I was just going to let it go.
Really good at the acronyms.
But that's all right. Liz, you know what you are good at is this poll that you posted here.
Thank you.
I want to cue this up right now because I like the way you sold this. I'm usually just asking people for what's your big surprise performance. Blech, no one cares. But what people do care about, everybody's got food takes, right? Food is universal. And so here we go.
Well, we all need it to survive.
Yeah,
so there's that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. We all do need it to survive. But I don't know if we necessarily need pumpkin pie to survive. But
pumpkin pie is trash.
So. We're going to talk about that. So you said fill in the blank and then join me and you and all this halftime business. Chris Godwin's Week 12 fantasy football performance is better than 30% say mashed potatoes, which is what I voted for, by the way, because it's the only thing on this list that's actually good. Like, green bean casserole sucks. Not good. I can't believe people like steamed soggy green beans in mushroom soup
Cream
sauce.
Of mushroom soup.
Oh, God. It's just horrible. I don't really like mushrooms anyways.
That's not true.
No, I mean, I will never choose them. But
you put them in steak and stuff.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
You don't have them on pizza or anything?
Again, if they are there, if like I'm with someone else that says, hey, I want mushrooms on the pizza, I'm not going to be the jackass. It's like no mushrooms. If you want them, I'll eat them. Fine, but I'm never gonna.
Be a fun guy about it.
I'll be a fun guy, a real fun guy about it. I'm never gonna choose mushrooms though willingly on my own. So I voted mashed potatoes, 30%, the minority. But again, this is this is the reality of the situation. Is this the only good thing here? Green bean casserole sucks. Pumpkin pie, as you mentioned, the leading candidate at 36%. We have one response here that says nothing is better than green bean. Give me a break. Mark Ringo says no performance is better than pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie, it sucks.
I hate to yuck people's yums. I really do. But like, everyone's like, no, you got to try like my Aunt Diane's pumpkin pie or pumpkin. Nobody eats it. Like it's a decorative squash. Nobody needs to ingest it. Pumpkin seeds. Those are really good, full of antioxidants. They'll make your skin clear, help you, eliminate maybe.
Yeah.
But pumpkin pie, I tried to make pumpkin pie once, and like I remember tasting it, and I was like, oh, this needs something, and I put Cavassier in it. And then I tried it again, I was like, oh, this needs something more, and I put maple syrup in it. And then when I went to put the pie in the oven, it like folded like a taco because it was all full of my extras. And my dog had like a nice pumpkin pie filling stripe on her back. Great story, Liz. Anyway, we should talk about maybe the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Falcons because that's the most back and forth we're getting other than the Browns game.
Yeah, I'll pull the box score up from that game because, I mean, along with people liking the Chris Godwin performance, obviously.
2 touchdowns hard to not like.
People are upset with Mike Evans only having 1 catch for 17 yards. Finally got in the box a little bit there in the box score. But, this is just what happens when, number one, Chris Godwin, one of his catches, the touchdown was a 71-yarder. So that takes away an entire drive. Of course, also, right now you've got Jameis Winston back there throwing 2 picks along with the 3 touchdowns. I mean, this is like the classic Jameis Winston performance. I believe he just hit the 20-20 club, which is you got 20 touchdowns and 20 interceptions, 3 TDs on the day, 2 touchdowns or 2 interceptions. By the way, one of his damn touchdowns was to Vita Vea, the nose tackle. So yeah, I get it. A little tilting if you're a Mike Evans
I think
fantasy manager.
Also tilting is the involvement for the second week in a row of Quadre Olison, the other running back, not Brian Hill, replacing Devonta Freeman in this backfield for the Atlanta Falcons. He has now scored in back-to-back games, and his touch total very close to Brian Hill's. They're nearly 50-50. So
yeah, 7 carries for Hill, 5 for Olison with the touchdowns.
Right.
Our colleague James Coe said this to me this week, that one of his lessons from the 2019 season is that stop chasing backup running backs in bad rushing offenses.
Like Ty Johnson.
Like Brian Hill. I mean, these are guys that aren't as good as the starters. And then you think you could even say it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers too, because Ronald Jones 5 for 14 right now. Those flowery headlines of him gonna be, he's the starter now per Bruce Arians.
To be
Who
fair,
cares?
Devonta Freeman wasn't looking particularly good, and the O-line had been problematic. And Brian Hill did look good in relief of Devonta Freeman, but you can never judge, as did Ty Johnson, by the way. But how much of that is scheme dependent, and how much of it is just fresh legs?
Fresh legs, I think, for 1 week,
and an adrenaline bump, like, oh, it's my shot, let's go.
Yeah,
it's a harder thing to sustain.
I agree. Now, another thing, I don't know if we agree on this, but I saw Deke DeSalva, our loyal viewer,
thanks, Deke,
said that they like apple pie. I think apple pie is also terrible.
I don't like pie.
Pecan,
I like key lime pie.
I can do pecan pie.
I don't like pecan pie, but that is the one thing I bake, is I can bake an amazing pecan pie. Everybody loves it. Maybe they're like, no, because they're not lying to me because they ask for it every year. The only thing I know how to bake is pecan pie, and then those cookies that you like, they're done for you, and you cut them, and then you
can't count that as baking.
Okay, so the pecan pie I do bake from scratch, and it is excellent.
Take the W. Like, don't just quit while you're ahead for once.
But I will not be able to make it next week, said my producer in my ear. Maybe I'll try. I will make pecan pie. It is great. However, pie in general, not great. Some people don't. I don't think you like cake, right?
I like cake.
You do like it?
I like cake.
I like cake, but best of all, I like cookies.
Yeah, cookies.
Because they're like little, you can kind of take, like, cake is a commitment.
I like cupcakes. I'm kind of.
Oh, you and Brett Rader.
I'm kind of into this whole like gourmet cupcake trend, like how it's become a thing. Like you got these individual. There's a damn cupcake shop down the street from my house, and I will tell you. Well, my stepdad was in town, and he is a sweet
aficionado.
Freak. Yeah, an aficionado. Steve, you're not watching, but an aficionado of sweet things, and he, until we finally went, bullied us into, oh, there's the cupcake stop. It looks nice. It looks open.
Oh.
He finally went on his last night here. It was great. So shout out to you, Small Cakes. Sponsor me. Now, let's answer this fantasy question. Oh, the laptop just went off. That's nice. That's nice work. That's back. Here we go. Let's answer this fantasy question from Juju_Maine. Michael Gallup or Cooper Kupp if you're starting this week?
I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp, I guess. Yeah.
I know we both believe that
the volume.
I know we both believe that the Patriots will likely defend the Cowboys receivers the same way.
I think the better question, Matt, just for some fun, Randall Cobb or Cooper Kupp?
Oh, Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
I believe that I just did a little hit for our football thoughts thing that we have to do, and I said that look out for Randall Cobb to be, I don't know, I'm not saying he's going to be a fantasy stud, but he will be part of this, about moving the offense because Dak Prescott's going to need to be able to use some of his
reliable chain mover.
A reliable chain mover.
Through the air.
The Rick Manello says $15 cupcakes are great face palming. I'm sorry that I'm bougie and I like the $15 cupcakes. What do you want from me?
Cupcakes? You want to bring those in? Why don't you go to Small Cakes? Bring some in for the crew. I bring baked goods in pretty regularly.
Hey, listen, I'm not going to a $15 cupcake store and bringing them in for a whole bunch of people. Let me tell you that.
Way to be so generous with the season. Really, really on brand with the time of year.
Exactly. Now, Tom Polish says the top 10 running back Samuels and Raiders offense, including tight end 1 Waller, let alone RB1 Barkley. We're talking about a lot of disappointing performances here from Tom. The Raiders offense, it does look like this has been a little bit of a trap game. Some could say. Would you say that this is a fair?
I mean, a trap for who? Which
for
of
the
these?
Raiders.
I mean,
for the Raiders, they're good. They're losing 20-3 to the.
Okay, I mean, we're in the third quarter, and I don't know who's this a trap for? Like, neither of these teams are teams that I understand that the Raiders are playing above expectation, and their record is better than the actual sum of their parts. But I don't know. It's a little hard for me to say a trap.
Fair. Ryan Griffin just found the end zone.
Boom!
Nice
well done, Matthew
play.
Harmon, who predicted that.
Matthew in a big spot. I can do that. Good call for all the people that liked Ryan Griffin. He's definitely turning into kind of an every week tight end 1, I think.
Well,
with the volume he's been getting.
I mean, week 1 he was on the field for 92% of the team's snaps, but I don't think his rapport with Sam Darnold had fully blossomed, and I think there was still some hope that Chris Herndon would be a thing, not just from Liz Loza, but from Adam Gase as well. And now that is officially not happening, I think Gase is moving on and pressing him forward. Also, Ryan Griffin, a better call. He was my week 1 fantasy damage play. I just want to say that much. It makes up for the fact that Hunter Renfrow, my week 12 fantasy damage highlight, has done a whole lot of nothing yet.
Fair enough. Also, pretty nice game from Le'Veon Bell so far. 41 yards on the ground, 56 yards through the air. Has caught all 4 of his targets. You really like to see that. I also want to talk, too, just real quickly about the Browns before we get out of here.
Sure.
But before we do that, I'm going to answer this fantasy question
Let's
here.
do it.
Rocky House from Facebook wants to know if you're picking between these two quarterbacks, Tom Brady or Dak Prescott. We expect this game to be lower scoring.
Yep.
I think I'm going to go with Dak, though.
Yep.
I know it's a tougher secondary matchup.
Also, Tom Brady says he wants to run the ball. In fact, I mean, basically what he said was like,
we need to play complementary football. Their defense and their special teams are playing really well.
He also has a bad elbow. That's not great.
And a bad pass catcher
and it's
core.
Cold. And that's the other thing. The receiving weapons, the wide receiving core in Dallas is just better than the one that the Patriots have.
I will take.
And Tony Pollard is like, I am ready for that. But it became very clear to me in rewatching a part of that game from last week that they need to get him more involved because his ability through the air. I mean, I'm not going to be one of those people that you mentioned last week that's like, Tony Pollard is better than Zeke. I'm not.
You're not willing to go that far.
Right. That's pretty hyperbolic. But I do think getting him involved, especially noticing the lack of explosiveness from Zeke, is going to be important. And he's going to be another one of those reliable chain movers because of his receiving ability.
I like it. I called out to people, what's one big performance that it looks like it's going to win your week for you already? One of the first respondents was from LB3 Scouting with this gif of Nick Chubb making up for Alvin Kamara, who we just got a comment too. Dan Meyer says, what's up with Alvin Kamara? Tough situation to see Latavius Murray run right up the middle for a big touchdown against the Panthers. But we know that is a tough, a very beatable matchup in terms of the Panthers on the ground, giving up the most rushing touchdowns in the NFL coming into this week. So.
Oh, thanks, by the way, Traquan Smith for showing up this week.
Yeah,
after I started him in DFS last week.
tough scene.
And Jared Cook missing end zone opportunities. That's particularly tilting.
Yeah.
Would he be a tilted or jilted for you right now?
Just tilted. I mean,
Right.
because he's still playing the snaps, the volume's there. He hasn't quite been on the same page with Drew Brees yet this year. But
well, Tony Romo did say that ball was underthrown.
It was.
He intimated that. At first, he was like, if he had just thrown it a little bit faster, harder.
Harder, yeah. I mean, I thought that too when we were watching it.
Of course.
Luke Kuechly, by the way.
We all thought it, but no one's saying that stuff about Drew Brees until Tony Romo put it out there.
I mean, if you're watching the Saints and you can't tell that Drew Brees is a little bit lesser in terms of arm strength than he's been before.
Even though he had like a month off in the middle of the season.
You might not be good at watching the game of football.
You might not be seeing the things you want to see.
That's all right. You are seeing the things you want to see, but not
go.
reality. So, Nick Chubb playing well, as I mentioned. The entire Cleveland offense, 28-3 over the Miami Dolphins right now. This looks like the group we wanted to get. Baker completing 89% of his passes, 3 touchdowns. He has more touchdowns than incompletions right now at 11 yards per attempt. The running game is rolling. 10 carries for 46 yards for Nick Chubb, 5 for 22 and a touchdown for Kareem Hunt. Odell Beckham in the end zone, Jarvis Landry in the end zone, twice in a big revenge game. And Nick Chubb also has 58 receiving yards.
Well, I mean, he has been and continues to be the engine of this offense.
Do you think, too, I like just seeing the Browns sort of simplify things. Like, I know that
it's easy to simplify these things against a defense like the Dolphins,
right.
which had been playing better. Admittedly, I think Brian Flores had been coaching these guys up as much as he possibly could, but I'm not. This to me is not. What would have been more surprising is if they have the luxury of being able to simplify against this defense.
I think that's. I mean, again, it's too little, too late for the 2019 season, but I think going into 2020, despite we're still doing this. Like, where's Odell Beckham gonna play in 2020? He'll be playing in freaking Cleveland. That's where he's going to be playing. But, you've got 2 good receivers. I think Baker Mayfield, there was even a note on the broadcast that he was saying, early in the year, I'm trying to force feed receivers instead of taking what the defense gives me. I think that makes a lot of sense when you watch him play. Also, again, simplifying things. Hunt is good. Chubb is good. Beckham is good. Landry's good. Get out of here with Demetrius Harris and Ricky Seals-Jones and Antonio Callaway.
It all comes down to safety valves.
It does, yeah.
And that's what Baker needed, and he got one in Kareem Hunt, which was, I also just feel like it cannot be said enough that easing that wrinkle into the system instead of sort of saying, boom, here it is, go play with it, made a big, big difference.
Last thing I want to hit on before we end this program was Jay Ariola, I'm going to go with that. Should you drop Ariola? I don't know. Either way, we're moving on.
What's up, Jay?
Jay with 2 Ys. Should you drop Juju Smith-Schuster? Sometimes you walk.
Yeah, sure.
You think you should drop him?
Let's go. Can he stay healthy? This is the same question as James Conner. I don't know, James Conner might be on the field. Is he going to be on the field for 4 quarters? Probably not. He's probably going to re-injure something. Why would you mess with any part of this offense if you don't need to? I'm guaranteed. I would rather stream at this position than have to rely on Juju Smith-Schuster on a week-to-week basis.
And also, just, again, you have to ask yourself, this is the fantasy playoffs are starting in the next couple of weeks. Are you ever going to play this player?
Right.
I really doubt that. I mean, you could look at the matchups. I don't know the schedule off the top of my head. But, you can look at the matchups, and there's probably not going to be a spot where you're going to want to play Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, would you even have played him in this game against the Bengals? And, this is about as gettable.
It would have been this.
As it comes for Juju. So he's not healthy. He's playing with Mason frickin' Rudolph.
And he's not a number 1 receiver.
He's not a number 1 receiver.
He's got Cleveland next week, then at Arizona. Week 15 is Buffalo. Oh my God, I don't like that. In week 16 in the championships, you've got at the Jets. So maybe the only reason to keep him on your roster is you're hoping you get to the championships and he can face the Jets secondary, which will probably be making golf plans by that point of the year.
What I would say is that, it depends. I like Deke's suggestion. It depends on who's available. It also just depends on
your record.
It depends on your record, and just frankly, again, he's not a priority hold is what we're saying. Yeah. If there's someone out there, say a running back gets hurt this week and you want to go grab their backup, I think you're totally safe to drop Juju to go do it. John Bunting, I'm not going to mess that up. John Bunting says, love you guys on at halftime. Well, we love you too, so make sure you come back for our second halftime stream of the day. During the late games, we will be live right here on Yahoo Fantasy everything that you need to get you through Week 12.
Remember to use that AskFFL hashtag, and feel free to give us some ideas for different Thanksgiving-themed like games we can play, other than sides of food. I mean, travel, worth it or not. Family, politics or not.
Worth it or not, hard to say.
Whatever Thanksgiving things are coming up for you, go ahead and tweet those at us with the AskFFL hashtag, and we'll give you a shout out and talk some football too.
Love it.